life. I think people sort of neglect that. Marauders have 125. I mean, Hellions just a little bit less than a Marine, so that's great. And of course, the big blunder by Maka, losing all of his Vikings. And I say this a lot in Terran vs. Terran games, but landing those Vikings is always a huge, scary thing to do. And one control group syndrome. Oh my god. Is it just me, or is that very, very red underneath there? Look at how not alive most of these units are. And yeah, more swarming in the backside for Maka, but I mean, this got some serious hurt on. I mean, just very, very nice storming action by White-ra, but unfortunately Maka is just really, really good at having a lot of stuff. And there's an Archon who makes a brief cameo appearance before going, oh yeah, I really am the worst unit in the game, and then just skedaddling out. A little bit of miscontrol by White-ra. I mean, this is very easy to have happen. This is actually going to sound weird, but watch this army. This is a one control group army. Now, this is going to sound so counterintuitive. This is going to sound really counterintuitive, but I'm certain that you guys have experienced this. It is much easier to get an army split up into multiple control groups to attack where you want than it is to have one control group army to attack where you want. Because this is the problem. Suppose you're in a huge battle and half your army gets split off, right? Like, let's say, here's Terran's main army, here's your forces, and then like 10 of your zealots up here go off and chase after 2 Hellions. You don't want those 10 zealots chasing that. Really, if you had them in their own control group, you can pull that back and sort of independently readjust everything. Your brain is tempted to just hit the one button, try to move everything back to regroup, and you end up losing a lot of units. So watch what happens here. So I'm actually going to slow this game down a little bit. So watch as, look at all these zealots going after these Hellions. It's very easy to have this happen. And you're going to see a little bit of movement back here by these zealots as they try to rearrange here to try to like get back to these guys. But, I mean, this is the problem when you just hit 1A, that your units kind of auto-split. Yeah, here's White-ra pulling back, and really, honestly, if these zealots had just pushed with this force, there wouldn't have been nearly as big a probe loss. Look, White-ra rearranges. The Archon, of course, is awful and dies immediately. And look at this nice little charge, just like that. So useful, just to have a little bit of spread in your control group army, just to have a little bit more control in that mix. It's so much easier. For instance, if you have your Templar as 2 and your main army as 1, very basic splitting up of your army. Just to be able to go 2, click, instead of like control, click on a moving object to select all the Templar and then move them all back. And of course, this Stalker, will he get it? It's a 22 life. It's... oh, no, he doesn't manage to get it. It was still awesome to see, though. So White-ra making some Archons. This Archon's even embarrassed to be here. He doesn't really know what his purpose is in life. And what we're also going to see is... oh, yeah, there it is. I knew I heard something on my minimap. What we're going to see by Maka now is just insane aggression with dropships. Notice Maka hasn't even expanded yet. He only just now has his command center, making more guys. Notice, though, that once you lose your big army off a one-base army, you're in really dangerous shape. And the question is, how do you come back from that? These sorts of drops are just so useful. I mean, that is just a great technique to exploit right here. It appears all my health bars are on. There we go, just turning that off. It's a little bit easier to see this way. And of course, I will happily hold the Alt button to deal with that. So, I mean, these sorts of drops are so good. It's a very easy way to distract your opponent, allow you to get your expansion up. Because honestly, going to this unit counting station, look at the unit count for Maka. He has 5 Marauders, 2 Hellions, 3 Medevacs, and 10 Marines. That's a small army. A lot of people neglect the effect of losing a big push. And honestly, if your opponent is playing reasonably, you will end up losing a big push with a one-base army, and you need to have some sort of recovery plan from that, because it's very, very hard to bounce back. I mean, we really only have these 3 barracks producing. Reactor getting added onto the factory again, trying to throw some more Hellions into that mix. And notice how both players are also mined out. Really just funny consequence of playing on Incineration Zone. Neither player wants to expand. Both players generally will be massing up like this because, hey, if you have this big amount of unit-producing structures and my opponent expos, I can just kill it. And look at this drop tech. Oh my god, this is so good, this dropping gear. He can even drop down here and kill off these assimilators very easily if he wants to. and he timed it just so that when all of White-ra's units were right here, I would say halfway across the map, but really it's just 10 feet outside the front, does this drop and does so much damage. A little bit over-eager, as we can clearly see everything gets stormed to hell, but he happily backs off. Anytime you're losing an army, make sure you retake this Xel'Naga Watchtower. Because again, if you want to do this sort of harassment, you want to have as much vision around everywhere as you possibly can. I mean, White-ra has a little bit better of the vision front than his opponent does. I mean, as we can clearly see. Ooh, feedbacking on those medevacs. Very nice play by White-ra. And then targeting these medevacs with the Stalkers. That's actually, you just 1A. The Stalkers auto-target the medevacs over anything else. But I mean, look at the nice vision spotting that White-ra has. And then look at Maka's. Maka's is really closed off. Ugh. We don't like this. This is very, very, very dangerous position to be in. So, absolutely 100%, indubitably, continue to scout, continue to place yourself out. So, ooh, look at this. White-ra, anytime you're in a super aggressive situation where both players have lost the army, harassment, you know, assuming that you don't get supply blocked and you just see the War Prism not making, anytime you do have the food available, harassment is a great, 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 great choice. You want most of your army to be back to defend because you're just being you're in such a fragile position, and likewise your opponent really doesn't have that many units himself, so your harassment will be all the stronger. So always a good thing to do when games are getting a little bit crazy. The unit count is getting a little bit tiny because people keep trading armies so much. Nice job by White-ra to expand. He's again in a defensive position. And here comes some Hellions. Going to do a little bit of harassment. Really nice play by Maka. I mean, it doesn't quite go very well. He does try to do a little bit of roasting, and White-ra does kill his own Zealot with Storm, just because he felt a little bit bad that he had units there. But look at this. Oh my god, huge push forward. So easy to mess this up, you know. Again, with one control group syndrome, it's very easy to just go, one, go back and defend. And then you leave your front wide open for some sort of dangerous attack. Look at this Ghost doing serious damage, the Archon being pushed to the front. And then once we finally regroup, now we're feeling a little bit more comfortable. Look at the EMPs he's getting off. Also, when you're in a very small army, for Terran, getting Ghosts is very, very nice. Very easy way to reinforce without having to make more unit cruising structures. You just throw down a Ghost Academy. More EMPs going off. God, such precision with those EMP blasts coming right in here. And notice not that many medevacs. Mainly, it's this aggressive ground army of Marauders, Marines, some Ghosts here to do some nice siege. Or to do some nice siege, to do some nice EMP. That would be cool, though, if Ghosts had siege mode, because then I could nuke from even farther away. But, I mean, in the meanwhile, Maka just macroing up a nice big army, and, oh, God, look at poor White-ra. 66 food. How will he ever come back? I'll give you a hint. War Prisms, harassment. Harassment is just so good there. He loads up the High Templar. Notice how he leaves 2 High Templar behind, one with enough energy to storm and one also en route. Has gotten that energy upgrade, so these new High Templar that warp in make them nice and safe. I mean, just notice this. He has these High Templar back to defend while he does this big drop at the front, and oh my god, here comes the Money Storm. Oh my god. Doesn't manage to kill anything yet. But this is an incredibly vulnerable position. Because honestly, at this point, what are you going to do as Terran? Sure, you could make a whole bunch of turrets, but I mean, really, to defend this, you probably need probably one turret up here and another turret up here. And that's quite a bit of money at this stage in the game. Honestly, your best bet's probably making a Viking so it can reinforce your army a little bit. And look at Maka just doing the same counter drop. And again, with these short positions, very, very difficult to really do much of anything moving out-wise because these counterattack possibilities are so huge. And some nice little sniping action going down by these Hellions as they get the shit stormed out of them. And you know, I will take a brief period of time to say the following. I'm going to pause because we've now hit the general peak number. We have 3,000 viewers joining. Hello, 3,000 viewers. Many people have asked Day 9, or sometimes even Sean, if they know me. Sean, what is your opinion on like BattleNet 2.0 and this recent Frank Pierce interview? And oh, isn't the universe going to implode because I can't talk to people on BattleNet? So here is my thought on it. So Blizzard is not stupid. In particular, all the people at Blizzard actually play Starcraft II. and use Battle.net 2.0. It's not like they go home and play Call of Duty. You know, they go home and they want to play Starcraft 2, this game they've worked on, and also this game that's just really, really, really fun. And any feature that you want, almost certainly the developers who are hiding away, who, you know, probably don't post on the forums at all to say, hey, here's what I've been working on, let me break NDA. Those people want this sort of stuff to happen, but I feel like there was a failure of PR. I feel like it was a communication issue, not so much a they're not gonna do it issue. Because in my eyes, if StarCraft II is being broken into 3 pieces, you know, we have Wings of Liberty and then we have Heart of the Swarm that's going to be released next. If it's being broken up into 3 big chunks, that means that Blizzard is going to be working on StarCraft II for a long time. So there's no doubt in my mind that everything that we want, which again is everything that the developers want, will get in there eventually. So I'm not too concerned about it. I'm curious why Blizzard just doesn't say, hey guys, you know, we have to ship. It's, you know, not going to have all the features you want on